Good evening, good morning, good day. How are you? And welcome back to the Learn to Love You show. I am Renita Hills, your host for the evening, and I am so honored and humbled that you took the time out of your busy day to come and share a little bit of time with me and on this show. We are here to help you learn how and see ways, finding out, digging deep so you can learn how to love yourself back to yourself. Wow, what an oxymoron was that? That was a twist on words. Will I be able to say that twice again? No, I will not. So don't ask me. But thank you so much. I'm in one of those moods. You know me. I'm gonna cut up no matter where I'm at. But I thank you so much for coming in. We want to, of course, thank Voice of the Victim, an organization that work with victims and survivors of domestic abuse, abusive behaviors, and sexual assault. The goal, the anticipation, the end game is the move from being a victim to survivor to thriver in spite of the abuse you have endured. Being in an abusive relationship, um, domestic violence, sexual assault, those are some harsh, powerful words. We don't like to put harsh and bad things with powerful, but those words are powerful. They have strength, but their strength comes from within you. Those words only have strength if you give it to it. It only has power if you give it to it. Get your power back. And on this show, we're teaching, we're learning, we're showing, we're demonstrating, and we're accepting that we can get our power back. One step, one day, one moment at a time. It's not going to come back all back at one time. It's not going to all come back in the same pace for you as it did for me. And it might come back a lot slower for me than the next person. It is very, very cultured. It is very, very structured to that person. It all depends on you. And don't let anybody push you to go beyond what you're ready to do at that date and at that time. Everything, and I do mean everything you need to survive is inside of you. Oh, guess what? That's what our topic today is. Everything I am looking for, I can find within myself. Everything. And that sounds like such a broad and such an open and such a vague, but it is also such a precise word. Everything you need to succeed is inside of you. I don't even know what to say beyond that. What you got, Kyla? What you got?
I would really like for you to go into that when you say everything you need. Do you mean in terms of loving yourself? Do you mean in terms of supporting yourself? Um, what does that look like for uh, victims, survivors, and thrivers?
Okay, thank you. Um, when I say everything you need, remember I always say you can't take a person out of abuse until they are ready. If you move them too quickly, first of all, you're going to get a battle. And you could be putting yourself in the middle of a very dangerous situation. But so everything has to be surrounded around that person. Now, I always put that sidebar. If you're in a situation where you see somebody being beaten, hurt, harmed, and in imminent danger, 911, do not put yourself in the middle of it. 911 is your friend. And we got this wonderful thing that everybody been using for everything, the cell phone. Start taking pictures, do the video. So if and when it goes to court, that's something that's also submissible. But when I say everything that you need is inside of you, that person who's being abused, they know exactly what they need to leave and when. They know. For instance, I'm gonna use that one of my clients from years ago. She knew every Thursday her husband got paid. He went to the bar, he got drunk, toe up drunk. So he slept through Friday. Friday night, he was going out and get toe up drunk again. Saturday, toe up. So she knew if and when she ever had to leave, it had to be when he was knocked out, toe up drunk. She had to look inside of herself. She had to think. She had to be consciously aware of her surroundings and acknowledge her surroundings. She had everybody around her had to look to her for guidance. She had the information inside of her. When it comes to loving yourself, that comes from inside. I can't give you love on how to give you the love to love on yourself. You have to look on the inside. You have to look at the person that you see in the mirror and decide within yourself something that you love about you. When talk to people in my group sessions, one of the main things I do is I give each person 52 index cards. And their assignment is 1 week from that day when we come back to the groups the next time, write down one thing on an index card that you absolutely love about yourself. The one thing that when you see that on yourself, you be like, I got that. Something for me, it was my, it's going to be weird, my eyebrows.
Okay. You definitely have to explain that one.
I will explain it to you. You have to understand. He's laughing at me, y'all. For years, I was told I wasn't pretty. I was too fat. I was ugly. Nobody else would want me but them, and I better be glad that they do. So after I was abused and I got home, for years I washed my face, brushed my teeth, and I just keep my face in the sink, and I wouldn't look up. One day I washed my face, I brushed my teeth, and I remember saying, "Oh," because I was exhausted. I was on disability for a year. My lungs were punctured and collapsed, so breathing was hard. So I'm washing my face, brushed my teeth. I said, "Oh." And I caught my face in the mirror and I was like, and my hands were literally like this. So my fingertips were pointing towards my eyes. And I saw my eyebrows. I said, "Ooh." My college roommate told me, "You have beautiful, naturally curved eyebrows. I would never touch them." And when I saw my eyebrows, I heard her voice. And then for the next couple of days, I was standing in the mirror just staring at my eyebrows, like doing this, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I loved on my eyebrows. Then eventually it started dropping down to my eye itself.
Mhm.
And I looked in my eyes and I'm standing this close to the mirror. I said, "Oh my gosh, my eyes are not black. They're brown
Brown.
with gold flakes. And oh my gosh, I'm loving on my eyes and my eyebrows." Then I started going down to my cheekbones and I started doing it. Oh God, it was the stupidest, the stupidest grin in the mirror. And I remember my uncle telling me that my cheekbones, and we have Seminole Indian in our bloodline. And I started doing
So
that
you
little,
Indian and from New York.
hey,
That is
hey,
that is a mix right there.
I'm just saying. So I learned that technique I use in my groups is something that God gave to me, and I didn't even know He was giving it to me. So for a long time, I just loved on my eyebrows, and then I loved on my eyes, and I loved on my cheekbones. And at first, I did. It was hard to love on the cheekbones because they were still bruised from being pushed into the wall. But when the bruising started going away, I was like, "Oh wow, wait a minute." And then I even started falling in love with that little scar on my smile. I said, "Oh, wait a minute." And eventually, it wasn't just this that I loved. I started loving on this. I started loving on who I am. And I started thinking, wait a minute, this was not all my fault. I mean, don't get me wrong. Notice that it's not all my fault. There were red flags that I didn't pay attention to. So I had to take ownership of my part in it. But I said, this happened to me, it wasn't all my fault. And he was very wrong in saying that I was ugly, stupid, crazy, fat, blah, 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 blah. Because this girl in the mirror is the bomb. I'm in the house by myself, talking to myself.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to do it on this show, but one day I will show you the happy dance I started doing every morning after I got work and got dressed and ready for work.
Yeah, that has to happen.
I will show it to you. It is my own little happy dance. And I would get up and I would get dressed. I got to the place where I was just loving everything about myself. And I would do my little dance in the mirror. I had a beautiful whole, my closet walls, the closet doors, I'm sorry, were all mirrored. And I would get in front of each mirror and just go on, bop, 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 doing my little happy dance, loving on myself until, I got caught one day. One of my kids caught me and said, "Mama, don't you ever do that again." Never.
They need to let you be great.
That's right. They need to let me be great. And I told them they should mind their business because this is all about me right now. And it's truly okay to say it's all about you. So when I say everything that you need, you're looking for is inside of you, That peace that you want is inside of you. You have to find it.
So what does that fine look like? Because even for um I'll use myself as an example. Even for myself, I was bullied as a kid, so kind of like a very smaller level to domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
When you are conditioned with things that are said to you that this is who you are. It took me a long time to even be comfortable being by myself.
Mm.
I didn't want to be by myself. Um, and I don't mean a relationship, just literally like
Alone.
alone, spending time with myself. I didn't like that because I had eventually conditioned myself to believe everything that was being said about me when I was being bullied. So, what does that fine look like? Because I know for me, it was more just, which is weird when you say it out loud, like you're having conversations with yourself in
Mm-hmm.
your head, which is just crazy to say that you like we have conversations with ourselves
Mm-hmm.
in our head, in our conscious. That is an amazing thing to me. I think that's an ability we have as humans that is so amazing we barely talk about. But what does that look like on your end of things?
Exactly what you just said. Having that conversation with yourself and listening to yourself. Remember a few episodes back we said trust your gut?
Yeah.
We innately
Yeah.
have something inside of us that says you shouldn't be doing this. We ignore it.
Hmm.
I'm okay. I'm gonna go way ghetto. Tyler Perry movie with Aunt Bam
Yes.
when she said, "Well, girl, you said that.
And
No,
that's a and
that's almost exactly what it's like." I asked her if she said that, and she said, "And no, I don't do it for that.
and
Well, who
Medea
you
was
do it
so
for?"
annoyed.
She Medea
So, bam, you
gets
do that one more
one
time.
more time because you look crazy talking to yourself. But it's okay. It's okay to sit
Yeah.
down and truly have those real conversations with yourself because God blessed us with that innate feeling, that innate something's not right, that balance. As think about it, it goes all the way back to the fall of man. As soon as Adam and Eve took a bite of that fruit, they knew something. They knew they had messed up.
Shame.
They knew it.
They were shamed.
Before they did it, they knew they shouldn't, but when they
Hmm.
did it, they knew they shouldn't have.
They really knew.
They really knew. They saw, I said, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, we naked.
Oh, I naked. Oh, wait a minute.
Grab that leaf off
Yeah,
that tree.
and you go, the first thing he said, go sew me some clothes.
Hmm.
He sent her to work. Anyway,
Well, she
whole nother story.
technically presented the apple, so the least you can do
Yeah, okay.
is
We're going to argue about
so
that after the
so is
show.
something. If I mean you
We going
got,
to argue about that after the show.
I
Because,
don't have to be an argument. I mean, just
no, we do this all the time here.
saying.
But innately, you do have something inside you that lets you know that you're going off to the left or to the right. It lets you know there is a compass that's inside of us that God puts inside of us because He wants us to draw near to Him. He wants us to draw near to righteousness. He wants us to draw near our own destiny and the purposes of our own. So if we start deviating from it, that magnet is going to be like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be this way.
Mhm.
Which is why I say it's in you. You have to decide. And now it's not even decide. You have to find, you have to dig it out, you have to dust it off, clean it up. That magnet, that thing that's pushing you in the right direction, it's inside of you. You grow up, like you said, you grew up with somebody being bullying you, but nobody ever told you you always thought you were good looking or a nice person or a good person. You didn't we don't know bad. Somebody teaches us bad. We don't know racism. We're not born racist. We're not born bad children. We're not born rotten.
Well,
We hush. We
some
are
kids are born
taught.
horrible.
We are taught
True.
to be negative, bad, disobedient. It's not innately there.
Learn behaviors.
It's a learned
Yeah.
behavior. So now we have to unlearn the behavior of not listening to our inner self, to not paying attention to our gut. We have to unlearn the fact that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that we are creatures. Yes, we are flawed, but we are still creatures that God created.
Hmm.
He put us together. So everything we need is inside of us. Takes us right back to Jeremiah 29:11. He knows the thoughts that he thinks towards us, thoughts of good and not evil, to reach that expected end. So if he wants, it's like me telling you, Kyla, I need you to go across to what we just said, to Glendale, go
Yep.
to that Target on Glendale and pick up such and such for me and take my car, but I don't give you no gas. How far are you gonna go?
I mean,
There's no
depends on the resources.
there's no gas in the car. I gave you no money for gas. I didn't give you any resources to get any gas, but I told you to go get
Then
gas.
I'm not gonna make it out the
You're not going
neighborhood.
to make it out the gate. But if I want you to be successful in your journey, I'm going to put what you need, not just in the car, but in you, because I'm going to give you some specific directions. Don't go down this road because it's closed off for construction. Actually, in Indianapolis, ain't no directions I can give because everybody
There.
closed off
Oh my god.
for construction. But you're going to know how to take those detours and still reach your destination.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say get there in 10 minutes and I know it's a 45-minute drive, especially with detours. I'm going to give you the time you need to get there. I'm going to give you the resources to get there. I'm going to give you the vehicle to get there. And then I'm going to give you the time to get there safely and successfully. That's what I mean. But everything you need is inside of you because when God created you, He put it there. He wouldn't put you on a journey and not prepare you for the ride. You remember how
Mhm.
he say if he gives you a vision, he'll give you provision?
Mhm.
He has a vision for you. Our vision is blurred
Very.
because we choose our own way, which puts us in a place of deer in a headlight. Y'all, if this was a dark room, all these lights shining in my face right now, I would not be able to see beyond the producer. But we have this deer in the headlight thing. We just get caught in what we want to see instead of seeing the one who sees better than us.
Mhm.
He gave us everything we need. We just have to dig it out. We have to find it. And I wish I didn't have to be so vague in it, but in a way, it is vague because what he put in you, he didn't put in me. And what he put in me, he didn't put in somebody else. Who I think we were under the same pastor that said, if both of us are doing the same thing at the same time, the same way with the same people, one of us is unnecessary. I think we were under the same pastor that said that. And
I
that's
don't
true.
remember.
And I think on a certain level, that's true. If both of us are sitting here using the same pot with the same for the same collard greens, and you putting in seasoning and I'm putting in seasoning, and we both stirring it, and I'm putting it on 4 and you putting it up to 5 and I'm flipping it back down to 4, and I'm putting in potatoes, but you putting in turkey, but I know I don't want turkey. I'm gonna throw some ham hocks in there. Them greens gonna take a hot. I made him hungry, y'all. He drooling.
I'm not
He
hungry.
drooling.
I
But
ate before I got here, y'all. She's lying to y'all. I was gonna play devil's advocate and say, would you necessarily say that one of you is unnecessary, or both of you are pushing each other?
I
Or
would
does
think
it
both of
depend on
you.
the
It
situation?
depends on the situation, because if you're both pushing each other, then you both have a plan. You won't. One person wouldn't be putting in turkey tail, and the other one putting in ham hocks. One of those are not necessary.
True.
And if both of y'all putting in salt, that's too much.
I'm sorry, that made me think of Friday After Next. Stop putting all
See,
that salt in that potato salad, Willie. you gonna get you gonna get these people high blood pressure, all that salt.
all
No,
that
I
salt.
I agree. I think in some situations, yes.
Now I agree that two people can have the same talent and work on the same project, literally work on the same project, but your portion is to do this and my portion is to do this. If you need help, then I can call on you or you can call on me and we'll support each other. But we both can't be throwing the same thing in the same pot at the same time because it could come out to be a really bad, nasty mess.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Um, my my thing I've been thinking about this whole time is I definitely am curious for you is how difficult is that find when you said that everything we need is in ourselves, but a lot of times we have to find that, and that takes a lot of digging and work, and um I think we should talk about that so that
Yes.
way people don't feel discouraged like this is a lot. Well, some people are different. It may have to take a lot to pull whatever, because there's so much
Yes.
in that we got to get out, of the way to pull what we really need to come out. Um, but how difficult is that fine when it comes to domestic violence and getting through those types of things? And what does that look like in different stages?
Let's go back
Because
to the first question.
okay,
The
and then
first part
I'll
is
elaborate the second question.
okay. The first part is how do you get to that? How do you find it? How do you get to that place where you can find what you need is inside of you? It's not easy. I thought I was on a straight road. Then I went to therapy and realized, ooh, I ain't on that straight road.
Not even close.
Not even close. I done went so far off the main highway.
We got to talk about that one.
I'm doing this and ain't no cars coming by. That's how far I was off. But I didn't know it.
Mm.
So I say that and I'm being transparent about that because we sometimes need support. I strongly recommend survivors of domestic violence, abusive behaviors, please get support. Get the therapy you need it because your mental health is far more important than your physical health to me. What a person could do from your mental health does more damage, long-term damage than your physical health. Short of death, it can do far more damage. And I didn't realize how literally my therapist said you have built so many walls around yourself that you look real good on the outside, but you got so much on the inside that nobody will ever see because you're protecting those things that can really push you into your next my next whatever that next is. And I looked at it, I was like, I changed my mind, I ain't doing this no more. She said, okay, I'll see you next week. I said, I told you I ain't doing this no more. And I say this part of it is because don't get yourself a therapist that lets you run the show. Get yourself a therapist that's gonna push you. That's
That's
gonna
one that wants to
encourage you.
collect a check.
Exactly. If they're not challenging you to be the best you that you can be, you might want to. And I'm not telling you what you do with your life, your time, and your money, but you might want to consider getting another therapist. We fire people all the time. We fire doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs. You can fire those therapists too. They're hired. You're paying them to do a job. And if they're not doing their job, to help you find that core, that center, that inner you, to find that place where you can look and open the doors. And that's what my therapist is doing for me. Those doors that are inside of me that I was afraid to open, she's making me at least know that the doors are there. Now that I'm realizing, oh wait a minute, there's some more doors in this room. Now I got to work up to where okay, which one of these doors do we want to work on first? And okay, now I know what door it is. Now where's the door? Okay, now I know where the door is. Now how fast do I want to walk to get to the door? And okay, we at the door now. Am I gonna push the door open or turn the knob and pull it? I'm saying this to be a little bit facetious, but I want you to know you don't have to rush. You can take your time. You have to do the work, but you can do it in small baby step increments. Rome wasn't built in a day. You don't have to rebuild your you in a day. It takes time. Now, what was the second half of that question? I'm sorry.
So then, what does that finding what's in you look like in every level? So we talked about victim, survivors, thrivers, those three levels. What does that find look like on those three different levels?
Again, it's going to be each individual. Technically, you're a statistic first. As soon as they hit you, you're a statistic. The police hadn't even showed up at my house. The fire department, the ambulance, nobody had showed up at my house. The first time he pulled that knife out for the physical part of the abuse, the first time he pulled it out and stabbed me, bam, I became a statistic. Nobody even knew it happened, and I was a statistic. That part is a whole entity by itself. To me, when I got to be a victim, I had to first work through the fact that this person that I trusted with my life and the lives of my children, the person that just last night said he couldn't live without me, and I just want you back. I love you so much. I just want to come back, and I want to be with you. I want to be a better person. I just want you back. I love you. I want you back. I had to go through the process of somebody that said they love me just tried to kill me in front of my children, and they had to see it. That was a big process, and that took a lot of time. Some areas of that whole scenario I'm still processing. It's something. That's why I said mental abuse is damaging, because it's 21 years later and I'm still processing that day, not even realizing until I started therapy that I still haven't finished processing that day. That's the survivor. Now thriving, that's totally a different arena, because each person's thrive. For me, thriving is when you start walking in what you are purposed and destined to do, and I can't speak to that for anybody else, because I believe my purpose, my end game is public speaking. It is writing books. It is educating the community of what domestic violence, abusive behavior, and sexual assault is. It is helping not just the victim survivor, it is helping the perpetrator. That's what mine is. But the next person's purpose might be just to raise your children to be good people, to raise your children. If you can break the generational curse of abuse by teaching your children this is what you don't want and this is what you don't want to do, that right there, that could be, that to me is even more important than what I do. Because if we can stop it as babies, you're working me out of a job. Hallelujah, I would love to be out of this job. Please work me out of my job. Let's break these curses and break these bad habits by educating each other. So each person's destiny is a little bit different. I have one young lady that I'm working with. She literally quit her good paying job because she always wanted to make jewelry, and she stopped. And just that's all she does is make jewelry, and is doing a phenomenal job of it. I'd be mad sometimes because I want to buy all her pieces, but I ain't got it like that yet.
Yet.
I ain't got it like that yet.
Yeah.
And then I have another author, have a few authors that have written books or have books coming out. One young lady wrote her whole book for her Spanish community. Think about that. I don't speak Spanish. I have somebody on my board that speaks Spanish so we can talk to.
I wish I spoke Spanish.
I do
Yeah.
too.
I took sign language in high school because Spanish was too hard.
Uh, we going to talk about that later too. Sign language is a whole language too, and I'm glad to know you do it, because I have some clients that are hearing impaired that I would love to have on the show.
I don't know how to sign it anymore. I lost all of it.
What, y'all? I need y'all to click in the comment section and ask my producer why he mentioned it if he can't do it. You know what?
Because I'm saying that Spanish is, I think Spanish is a cool language, but it was a requirement in high school for my school. I can't speak for any other school. So for me, I wasn't going to set myself up for failure. I was like, Spanish is
Yeah,
something maybe I could do on my own time where I'm not being graded on it. So I was like, sign language is pretty cool. I play football, I use my hands, so it's not too big of a difference. So I took sign language, but I only took 2 semesters.
gotcha.
So, it wasn't a whole lot. So after, like, shortly after high school, a little bit of college, I never ran into anybody really, like, because when you see, I'm so sorry we're getting off topic, but
That's
I'm just
okay.
saying, when you see somebody that is deaf and you sign a little bit, they get so excited
They do.
that they start throwing a lot at you, and you're like, I don't know what you just signed to me. So, so,
You gotta throw that disclaimer out there. Oh,
so,
this sound a little bit
but
slow.
that's the thing, is I didn't know how to even say that. Like, we didn't get that far with the my sign language
Gotcha.
classes. So I didn't take it until my senior year. So it was only 2 semesters. So, but no, Spanish. I think that's awesome.
She, like I said, she wrote an entire book for the Spanish community. Again, that was her assignment. That was her destiny. That was her purpose, to educate her community, which is phenomenal. I do have, like I said, I do have a person that speaks Spanish on our staff, but again, she has a full time job. So I'm excited to know that somebody in the Spanish community is helping them. That's a unique community in itself, because, and again, we're going off a little bit off subject, but because some of them are here illegally, and I don't like that term, but they're here without the papers.
Undocumented.
Undocumented, thank you. Some of them are undocumented. So it's a little more challenging, and they don't speak English at all. So it's a little more challenging for them to report abuse because one, they're not documented. So if they turn into the police, they can end up going sent back, getting sent back, or they can't speak English well enough to say what's really going on. And then finally, they're not allowed to be alone with anybody. They don't. They get the car. The abuser will get the car and leave, and they're in a house full of kids. Who are they going to tell? And how are they going to get the point across? And if they do tell and get the point across, what kind of help are they going to get? Are they going to really get help to get away from the abuser? Or are they going to get help get away from the abuser and be able to stay here, or get help get away from the abuser and be sent back to a country that they were being abused at by their country, not just a person. Their entire country is abusing them. So I was excited to see that there was somebody in that community that's actually helping and supporting those ladies and men through abuse and abusive behaviors. That was exciting to hear that. Going back to
Everything I'm looking for.
everything you're looking for is inside of you. You might need help. Get a therapist to help you dig that something you're looking for out. Because sometimes you think you need one thing, but in all actuality, you really are looking for and need something else. But your therapist will be able to help you to determine which avenue, which way to travel, what things that you actually need to be fulfilled and walk in purpose. Is for me the ultimate thing is to be able to walk in what you are designed, called, and purposed to do. If you're doing something that just to be doing it, like Kylie was saying earlier, doing it just to make the money, if you're doing something you love, money will come. It will absolutely come because your passion is there and people follow passion. The quality, like the young lady with the book. What am I going to do with a Spanish book? I don't speak or read Spanish, but her passion about it, her passion about what was in that book. Let me say, you know what? I don't understand a word of it, but here's this so you can get some more books to the people who need to have it. I have it on my shelf to one day hopefully pass it on to somebody else to read. My granddaughter is learning Spanish and she's quite fluent. Kylie, your girl is quite fluent.
My joy.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
quite fluent.
I
So
love joy.
hopefully when she gets in high school, I'll be able to pass it on to her. Maybe she'll read it to her nana. But people follow passion. So if you have a passion for something, it's inside of you, and everything you need, it'll come out with therapy, with counseling, with support, sharing and shedding. Everything you need will come to the forefront. It's there for you. You just have to want to go for it and get it. Any more questions?
Nope, that's it. I just wanted to join in and help with that one because I think that was a really good one.
Okay.
Because a lot of times I think people, I won't say people, I think a lot of times all of us feel like we don't have that thing or that, certain things inside of us, and it takes a person to come along and pour it into us and help.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those people pull it out of us more than they, you know, pour it
Yes.
in. So to get that one today, I think was a good one because that does make more sense of it's in us, but sometimes it does take other people to come and help
Pull it
us
out.
to even realize that we have it and then help us pull it out. So
Yes.
that was a good one.
Be open to accepting help. It's always there. You just have to be open to receive it. All right. What do we got next? Oh, we get to say my famous line. I love
I love when
it.
she says it,
I
y'all. Just so
love
y'all know,
it.
when I'm sitting here behind the camera, I am mouthing it as she says it because I love when she says it. So I just want y'all to know I'm back here loving it when she does. So you guys take care. I'm
As
gonna let her take it over.
as I have said before, God's fingerprints are all over you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made by the hands of God. When you look in that mirror, and I want you to do that as soon as this podcast is over, go in your bathroom and look in the mirror, and you look in that mirror and say, "Hey, person that looking back at me, beneath your skin and behind your eyes is a beautiful you. Learn to love you." Until next time, God bless you. Take care and be safe.